Hello and welcome to the Carbitrage Podcast, episode 109. I'm Eric Berger, joined as always by my co-host Ryan Zanitsky. Hello, sir.
Hey, it's Monday again.
We are.
Normally, it's not Monday on this
Schedule.
podcast.
Our schedule gets wonkier and wonkier as time goes on. But I'm gonna blame Summer, and I am gonna take secondary, slightly smaller blame myself. So
Yeah, no, it's fine. I was busy too. Exactly. Why is it that every podcast or every car show happens exactly when our podcast is being recorded?
I don't know. It's probably our fault for picking this date and time.
It's exclusively Saturday noon to 3. It's like when every car show is.
But hey,
sometimes 11 to 1, but
when
even
we
still.
record on
Yeah.
Mondays, I get to make giant pasta dishes.
Yeah, right
That's
now.
true. I think Monday. I'm kind of okay with this whole Monday gig here.
It's not bad. I mean, the only reason why I was like not looking forward to coming down here is just because I left work like 2 hours late, so traffic was worse.
Yeah, dude. Tell me about it, because I totally every day of my life deal with that exact commute, forever.
I could not do that. I would not do that.
It is awful. Actually, to be honest, it's not that bad. Because actually, I find the traffic cathartic. Because I need like a solid half hour to like just cool out and like not be around people. So I'm just sitting in my van, listening to Kai Rizdal in the AC, watching people be mad, hoping I don't get rear-ended.
Weird. I didn't put this in the episode notes, but I don't have a copy of it here either. Crap. But my NPR thing.
Oh yeah,
since
you
we
were on
last
NPR.
down here.
Hey, before we get to NPR, I want to talk about something that NPR also does,
Okay.
where they have sustaining members. And you know what Patreon is? Patreon is a sustaining membership. It makes this wonderful programming possible.
That was the best segue we've ever had on Carbitrage. Props.
We should do. You know how I've got that giant NPR mug that blatantly says "member" across the bottom?
Yeah, you should totally bring that
We
here.
should have Carbitrage and
You know what?
Member. Copy
Peter told me about that that dropship print on demand service. We should totally make.
Is that not like Redbubble, or is that something else?
It's like Redbubble, like way better on our end.
Okay.
Because Redbubble is insanely expensive.
Yeah, they take a bit of a chunk.
A huge chunk. And I have a Redbubble. I've sold like several stickers. I've made a whopping $3.15 in like over a year. And I've sold like 30 stickers. Like,
We have a few patrons.
We
I
do.
think we rake in like a whopping net, like $12 a month maybe.
yeah,
which helps.
is fine. That does help. And
It pays for the hosting, which is really what I'm after. I'm
Yeah.
not really expecting to recoup the cost of the equipment or the beer.
well,
but someday maybe.
that's what I'd like to do. You know, it's just like stuff like that. And plus, like the if we can get more subscribers, more Patreons, you know, we can start giving them things back instead of just taking. And I really want to give back to them.
We're still planning to get back.
And-
I just
and-
don't have time.
And furthermore, that will also make it way easier for us to put out better quality content.
I don't think that's really going to vary it from my perspective.
Well, from me at least, because I do a lot more traveling.
But we will be appreciative.
Like if I can afford to get myself my own iPad and recording equipment when I go out to like California and stuff, and I can like interview people and get more interesting people on the podcast, because it'd be like cool to have like Valentino Balboni or like anybody, like a homeless guy in like Los Angeles.
An odd person to
something.
just pick out of the blue, but he would be a great interview.
Well, I didn't note that Overcrest they had him, and I'm like, I can't compete with that. But then I listened to their podcast. I'm like, wait, they're a totally different format than we are. So
Yep.
yeah, like are not even competitors.
I refuse to do like phoned in interviews.
Yeah.
I cannot stand listening to it, even if it's the person I care most about in the world.
Yeah, you hate phones.
It sounds like dog shit.
Yeah, it does, but it's fine. You get used to it.
No.
But anyway, well, I mean, I think maybe a Skype like video call or something might be a little bit better. But anyway, well,
The way to do it is just to ship them an audio recorder or interview somebody that has good quality audio recording equipment and then Skype, but you're not listening to the Skype, and then record on both ends.
exactly. Now,
That was
you
very
can
good pasta. Thank you,
You can
Jana.
subscribe to our
You're welcome.
Patreon.
Subscribe to Patreon. I'll cook you pasta.
And that's quite the stretch.
That
That's
is- well,
that's
I mean-
the $100 a month mark. Is Jana cooks you dinner, which is really good. So, what is the
I would do that.
what is our URL for Patreon? Is it Patreon/Carbitrage?
It is patreon.com/Carbitrage. CARBITRAGE.
Yes, it is.
Boom.
All right. So
Now that we've shilled enough, First story.
Yes, first story. We were both gone over the weekend.
Yep.
You were in hell, and I was in Back to the 80s, the car show. Not in the 80s, but at Back to the 80s.
I mean, that setup isn't something I fully agree with, but okay.
Well, you were in Missouri.
I was in a bad place of the world, but I was doing epic things there.
You were doing the best you could in a terrible place.
I went there on purpose.
I know. So did Odysseus.
That's true.
But anyway.
I think I fared better.
Yeah, you did. It didn't take you 40 years to get back.
No, it didn't. I was in an M5, and it was all well.
Yeah, all is well when you're in an M5, unless you're getting divorced. Now.
Wow. That was really dark.
Well, what was Missouri like for the
Honestly,
Waffle House?
well, the entire drive is awful. The whole thing.
It's the
straight
worst thing
down
in the world.
35W. It's just
I hate
Interstate
it.
35.
I really hate it.
But once you get into Kansas City, Missouri proper, actually it's a lovely city to spend a day in.
Yeah, it is.
That's it.
It's a day,
Not more than that. There was a vintage car show I didn't go to in town.
which is fine because I wasn't there to
Right.
get you guys to go.
I'm like, it looked like an interesting venue and all that. But no, I hit up a Waffle House for breakfast. Then we went down to the Motorplex subsidy place. It's called Stonegate.
Yeah.
No car show this time because they moved their Cars and Coffee too to a church parking lot,
Oh.
which is a terrible idea.
That sounds. They actually went up to Minnesota Cars and Coffee.
Yeah.
That's worse.
It
than
is
the
worse.
Casino.
It is worse. Yep. And then after that, we went to the Joe's gas station barbecue. We got a bunch of barbecue to go, and then
Krispy Kreme.
Krispy Kreme.
Well,
and then
that's why you
bummed
go to that
around.
Waffle House because there's one in like Illinois, which is like a way better drive.
Yeah.
But
It's
they don't have
way-
they don't have a Krispy Kreme nearby.
It's not actually that. It's the fact that even though it's the same distance to Illinois, it's like 2 hours faster to go down 35. to
Yeah, but
Missouri.
Wisconsin's a way better looking state.
It is, but I don't care about that. It makes this whole trip is done in a day. So we left
That's
at
true.
4 a.m.
That
and we
is
got
true.
back at 8:30 p.m. and we were fine. Like we didn't drive
Okay,
especially
good, yeah,
quickly.
'cause-
We didn't rush when we were down in Missouri.
Last time we went, we left at 2 a.m. We got back at like
We left at 4
No,
last year.
Well, Jana woke me up at like 2 or something.
Yeah.
Like something awful like that. I can't
Well,
do
because
that.
we had to
We don't do 2
drive
anymore.
to St. Paul.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, I can't do that. I'm not physically equipped.
That's all right. Even Scott slept through his alarm this year and missed it.
Good.
Oh no.
I'm not alone.
But
Well-
anyway, no, it was a lovely drive. The M5 did great. It was
Nothing
good.
broke.
Nope. Did
Who-
22.6 mpg.
Did
nothing
Peter go with
broke.
you?
No.
Oh.
It was Corey and then Andrew.
Oh, okay.
So we just carpooled.
Oh, fun.
Met up in Owatonna. He just parked his car. We took the M5.
Perfect. There you
Yeah,
go.
it worked well.
So
I would have joined you guys, but I had to babysit that night. So
Yes.
next year.
Oh,
It's
God.
fine. I was
Well-
gonna drive alone if nobody else wanted to go. So
When she was babysitting, I had to. I went over to Trig, or our podcast guest,
yeah,
Trig
he's been on
Rowander's
before.
house. Yeah, I went over to his house and his roommate Aaron and his girlfriend Ella, from high school.
Mm.
You remember her?
Probably
she,
do.
she
I'd
was
have, to
friends
dig,
with,
I'd have to dig out
she,
a
was- she was friends.
yearbook.
She was friends with like Tina Robb and like Anna and
What's her
everybody.
last name?
Schofield.
Oh yeah.
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 So
Oh, Ellie. I think she went by Ellie in high school.
she went by Ella in high school. Now
Really?
Now she just lengthened it to Ellen. Her
Oh,
full name.
maybe I don't know this person.
Yeah, you do. If
Ah,
you saw her,
I'll
you would know.
Google it on
he keeps
Facebook.
coming up to people and being like, "You know this person."
You
and
do.
I'm
You
like,
all
"I
know
don't
this person."
know."
What's wrong with you people? I'm sorry. At least I remember you, Ellen. But anyway, so we were over to her house, and yeah, we're all having a good time. We're celebrating Butter's birthday. It's his birthday. And me and Andrew Chase and Trigger all sitting down, and Aaron comes up and goes, "Oh, good, everyone's here." And me and Chase go, "Nope, nope, nope, nope." He goes, "So I got this 500-pound gun safe, and Trig just cooked you guys dinner?" And we're like, "No." And he goes, "I need it in the house." I'm like, "Fuck."
You got duped, sucker.
Oh, it was awful. I thought I was going to go there for a good time. Instead, I had to move a gun safe. But, yeah, it makes sense why he has that. I think Trig has the world's supply of, like, old man lever rifles. Those, like, lever action.
That man
like,
was born, lives in, and will die in the 18th or 19th century.
Yeah,
19th
yeah. Oh,
century.
no. He lives entirely within the Gilded Age.
I don't recognize this person.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway.
Searched her.
So, yeah, we went to their house. Ellen does a great job keeping the
bygone
house
era.
clean. So, yeah, like Aaron's house is like in Trig's house. I've never seen a house that clean. It's like IKEA showroom clean.
It's like a Fight Club, whatever the guy's name is, house clean.
Yeah,
Is
it's
their apartment or whatever?
they have a house, but it's like
I know. Yep.
you go in there and like it looks like a model of a house. It doesn't look like a real house. It's
Like nobody could possibly live
yeah, nobody lives like this. Like, how do you do that? Like, I walk in and I create a mess, and then Jana comes in and tips over everything.
Hey.
So
It's already messy. It's fine.
yeah, it's already ruined. But yeah, so that happened after Back to the 80s, and now we're getting back to what my topic was. Back to the 80s was awesome. I was
Love we had a 14-minute lead in
no,
to Back to the 80s.
it's like listening to the smoking tire.
Yeah, well, that's true.
You fast
Except
forward
instead
23
of,
minutes.
Yeah, ads for now defunct coffee companies and things like that, we just ramble.
Yeah, exactly. Which is effectively what his ads are.
Yep, basically. I appreciate that puts them in the front.
Yes, it's really nice. Instead of having it in the middle, it's a lot better than anybody else. Or like Adam Carolla's CarCast, where Adam Carolla just like name drops like Forza Horizon 3 and the Lamborghini Huracan for like an entire season.
So anyway, how about this Back to the 80s
Sorry.
show?
I'm talking trash at every one of my favorite podcasts. Yeah, so no, Back to the 80s was really awesome. I was really, really surprised in how good it was.
We should probably explain what it is to the people that don't live in Minnesota.
It's like Radwood light.
Okay.
So imagine Radwood, but we don't have it, so we made our own. And that's exactly what it is.
I like the fact it looks like it's growing.
It really is. They're in their 4th year,
Sounds right.
I think. I went to the first one, did not go to the second or third, because the second one I didn't want to, and third I was actually busy. I went to a Waffle House for the third one. But no, the first one it was all right. It was sparsely.
Was that the one that was in the Blaine Performance Center or
Yes.
whatever?
Yeah, the first 2 years. Also happened during Back to the 50s, which was a terrible decision.
No, it didn't.
Yeah, it did. Because I remember I missed a day of it, and I like totally regretted it.
So what did you see at this show?
A lot of really cool stuff actually, and
Was
not
it from the 80s?
A
yes,
Suzuki Alto.
Ooh.
yeah, no, it wasn't just a
works.
bunch. You would expect it like 80s era car show in the Midwest to be just C4 Corvettes, G bodies, and like
I don't know. There's a
and
lot of
Fox
interesting
bodies.
weird crap here.
yeah. Well, that's exactly what there was.
Huh.
It was like going through Bring a Trailer from like. You just have a filter like 1978 to 1993.
Or just cars under 10 grand.
Yeah,
Before
basically.
we fly off track, I've got a cute story about Back to the 80s.
Yes.
So the Suzuki Alto has Hello Kitty vinyl all
Oh,
over
yeah, I
it.
love
it's
that
the
car.
Hello Kitty Atasha
and
one.
it's really
The tires are
cute 'cause, like, it's
hilariously
the
tiny.
same pink as my laptop,
Mhm.
and like this laptop has pictures of it from when it was on Craigslist like 3 years ago.
Mhm.
And
That color pink.
we
That
were like
color pink.
we were going into Chicago to visit some family and do something else, and we were looking at cars around the Chicago area, and I found this beautiful Hello Kitty Suzuki Alto, but I was like, I don't really want a daily a K car. Like, that just doesn't make sense for my lifestyle. Like, it would be fun to have one, but I can't daily it.
Can't
so
squeeze a GPR in that thing.
Yeah, so I was
Well,
like,
you can, but more like if something breaks and you're kind of screwed for like
yeah, and I,
2
I-
weeks.
No, the GPR is bigger than the car. But yeah, so I
John's
really
comment.
wanted to.
I've seen the GPR. It's not that you can take everything out of that car, and you'll fit the GPR in
Yeah,
it.
everything.
Yeah,
out
you have
of
to
the car.
gut the rear of it, but yeah. Anyway,
Anywho, continuing on.
No, John, we're
So,
not drunk. We know
I-
it's not Saturday.
So I I had to make the hard choice of leaving it in Chicago, and I was like, oh, some 16-year-old girl's gonna really fuck this up. And then a couple years later, it popped up, and all my friends called me, and they're like, Jana, have you seen this car? And I was like, what car? And
Like,
they're
yes, but not
it's
recently.
a Suzuki Alto, and it's got Hello Kitty all over it. And I was like, oh my god, no way, I know that car. And a lovely gentleman in North Dakota bought the car after it traveled the country going to dealership to dealership.
Yeah,
not
like-
It's super
being
weird
sold.
All
to have
these-
that car at a dealership.
well,
Yeah.
not dealership, but JDM importers. Like
Oh, I
it just
gotcha.
bounced between inventories.
Yeah, so, and then this guy bought it, and now he brings it to a lot of Minnesota car shows. And so it's funny, so I was talking to some friends we met at the show about the Suzuki, because obviously I know a lot about it. And so I was,
You've
like,
got the provenance that nobody else does.
Yes, so I was telling them all about it, and then I was like, oh, I don't know all the engine specs because I can't remember it. It's also like 2 in the afternoon. I'm done with the day, so let's talk to him. And so they talked to him, and then this little girl comes up as I was like walking away and like pokes me on the butt vigorously, and I was like whipped around, and she goes, "Do you own this car?" And I was like,
I wish.
And I was like, I don't own it, but that's the owner right there. And she was like freaking out and like assumed I owned the car even after I told her I didn't. And I was like, I'm glad that a stranger just runs up to me assuming that this
It is a
my
very
car.
Jana car in their defense.
I've never seen
I've
never seen a more Jana car.
Yeah, and then I had like 5 of my friends go, "You own the Suzuki, right?" And then like I wish like
the guy's name is Robert.
Yeah,
Robert Coral.
Yeah, he's really fun. But yeah,
actually,
so,
Jana. I'll let you finish because his whole car collection's all you.
Yeah, but yeah, so I thought it was funny that not only
As long
did
as we
my
don't get too into
friends
the
think I
weeds.
should own this car, but strangers also as well. They see me and they go, she needs a
There are
Hello
certain
Kitty
cars,
Suzuki Alto.
like the X90 and the
Which
Alto
also
and
he
that
owns.
pre-war whatever
Yeah,
thingy,
no.
tiny thing.
So Robert owns a Alto, a X90, an Autech Skyline sedan, which is like crazy rare, and then a tow truck for all of them.
It's probably wise.
Yeah.
I have a AAA membership, but that's fine. All right, what was your favorite car back to the 80s? Because I have an answer to this.
I was tied between actually it was a 3-way tie. It was a Pontiac Trojan,
Okay.
which is that's a F body. It was
Yep,
designed
I
to
know
fight
what it is.
Ferraris.
Yep.
There was a Chevy Sprint Turbo,
Weird.
which was a 3-cylinder turbocharged.
Didn't know that was a 3-cylinder.
Yeah, it was a 3-cylinder turbocharged little like hot hatch. Made 70 horsepower. It actually had like the exact same specs as a Mitsubishi Mirage today, which would have actually been kind of cool in like 1987.
I'm guessing it was very light. So
Yeah, it weighed actually almost to the pound, the exact same weight as a Mirage,
Interesting.
with the same horsepower and torque. But it had the smallest intercooler I've ever seen with in my life. I'm gonna put it on the Carbitrage website. I'm putting together all the paper or all the stuff on it. But I had who did I have? I had one of our friends put his hand. Oh, I had Josh Stowell put his
Gotcha.
hand next to the intercooler for a size comparison, and his hand was bigger than the intercooler. And Josh doesn't
barely
have,
even worth it.
it worked.
Okay. All right.
I mean, it helped. But yeah, Josh is like, he doesn't have the biggest hands in the world. He's got very normal sized hands. But yeah, there's that. But no, my number one was 1987 Toyota Camry wagon.
Yep, that's my favorite.
It was beige with a brown pinstripe and a tan interior.
Yep.
And Darren Brooke, who I really want to get on the podcast before he moves to Seattle, said, that is profoundly beige. This car is the essence of the color beige.
Yeah, it's like avant-garde. It's like that Toyota Tacoma beige that they do now.
Yeah.
Like the really flat.
Prosthetic limb tan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it was-
hearing aid beige, prosthetic limb tan.
Yeah, it
It's-
was
yeah.
definitely like tan.
That was
great.
actually a really beigey, tanny show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
It
was-
was amazing.
John was sending me pictures of all the BMWs, and
They
they're
were
all
beige.
bronze it.
Yeah, everything was
I
beige.
was like, I didn't know there were this many beige BMWs.
Every car, you could sum up 93.
all tan interior too, apparently.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, 93% of that show could be summed up in the color beige, red, black, or white.
Back to the beige D's.
Yeah, exactly. Beige, red, black,
It
or
was
white.
really funny because Ryan posted a picture of this beige car, this beige wagon on Facebook, and his uncle immediately goes, "I don't like it." And
Yeah.
I lost my shit because, like,
My uncle.
How could you hate that?
Well, my uncle Dale also owns a C3 Corvette.
Well, his name is Dale.
Well, yeah, he owns a C3 Corvette that he's fully restored to be perfectly stock. It is a 1978, so don't get too excited.
I wasn't excited to begin with. All C3 vets are garbage.
But yeah, it's a 73, and he wears jorts with tall white socks. So he's the quintessential Corvette guy.
Anyway,
Yeah, and he's also
Former
divorced. so
Chicago
it's
PD,
like, yeah,
so-
yeah, like he's like, if there's ever a person that Corvette was made for, is him. But yeah, no, there's
damn it, Dale.
a lot of really cool stuff that do with the Vixen. Brought his Vixen out.
Craig.
Yep, Craig. Just about every G body in the world was there.
Great.
A lot of C4s, but I mean that's the thing is like they were kind of spread out and they didn't overwhelm the show. I think there might have been as many A60 Celicas and Celica Supras as there were Corvettes and G
Good.
Buddies.
That is the balance that this universe needs.
And so this is a thing that's interesting is the quote-unquote cool cars from the 80s, nobody cared about. Nobody was there to look at them. And it was all the, like, millennial cars. So the V20 Camrys and the Chevy Sprint and the Celica Supras, the Tommy Kyra R32.
That was pretty sweet.
The best CA6 I've ever seen in my life.
Yes.
Was the Camry had to have been a 3 SFE, right? 87 that didn't have a V6 yet?
It was a 5 SFE.
There were 2 liters all the way through the end of that
Were
generation.
there? Okay, then it was a 3 SFE. Yeah, it was a 3 SFE. You're right.
I think the 5 SFE came in at the 3rd gen Camry.
Yeah, it was.
But yeah, the CA Accord was really cool.
That one is flawless. Yeah.
This guy, his uncle bought it brand new, and then his grandpa bought it from his uncle, and then his grandma was like, "Hey, do you want your grandpa's Accord?"
I love that okay, so back to the 80s here versus like a Radwood in the parts of the country where they don't get rust.
Yeah.
Like, I bet it's a completely different mindset going into that.
Oh,
Because like when I was last weekend, I was down in Kansas City, and like there was just like a green mint, like pre-CB 4-door Accord driving down the highway. It was just like people
you're
that
just like,
clearly don't care about the car at all, and it was perfect. Just
Yeah.
no rust. Perfect. I'm like, that would get so much attention at a show up here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny, the dude with the CA Accord is like totally enchanted by it. And
Which is the way you should.
Yeah,
feel
and
about
that's
an
what that
Accord.
car does to everyone. I've never had anybody drive a CA Accord and then get out and say, "This is objectively the best front-wheel drive car I've ever driven."
I've never driven one, but I thoroughly enjoyed the time with that crappy-ass 93 Civic DX.
Yeah, and a CA Accord is like that, but like a little bit bigger.
With more torque.
It's more torque, a little
Much
bit
more
bigger,
torque.
and doesn't weigh anymore.
Yeah, the F-Series engine, I actually
No,
like
that's an A series actually.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is that the 3-valve then? With the
Yep, 88 horsepower, 120 pound-feet.
Gross.
No, 120 pound-feet.
Gross.
Anyway, so the guy that had the CA was totally enchanted by it. He actually previously had a 600 horsepower STI that he was driving, and he got the CA Accord, and he was going to use that as just like a daily driver, like turd. And he drove it. Got it
He
in
was
fall.
going to use it as a turd.
Yeah, he got it in fall, and he was going to drive it through winter. And the first thing he did is he bought winter tires for his Subaru.
I mean, that's good.
That's how much he loved the Accord. This guy put made a car that's very difficult to make 600 horsepower on, make 600 horsepower reliably, and then he drove it through winter because he didn't want to ruin the Accord.
Yeah.
That's how great that car is. Anyway, a few other highlights: a Ford EXP, which
what that
is
is.
a coupe of a Ford Escort, possibly one of the worst cars ever made. A Dodge Murata, which is like a G body but looks 1,000 times better.
Of course, at least 3
objective.
DeLoreans.
Of course. How many of them had Back to the Future paraphernalia?
2.
Two, half of
Okay.
them. There's only 50% this year. And then
It
actually,
was 2/3. So.
I was gonna say, I'm like, there were 3, 2 of them did. I don't think that's a half.
a car I had never seen previously in my life: a Plymouth Fire Arrow.
Never even heard of that.
It was a hotted up Chevette rear-wheel drive manual with a plaid interior.
Wasn't Tartan?
Yeah, it was Target.
No.
But
I think that's a Volkswagen.
That is a Volkswagen thing. But it's no, they were actually really cool because they used the Suzuki single cam as opposed to the GM trash engine.
I really wish that they had they have the high feature V6
And
and
then just like the trash.
the
poverty
Chevrolet
engine.
trash engine.
Yes.
Like, what's that? Like, that's where we're putting all the cobalts and stuff.
Yeah, it's just like 63 horsepower and a non-serviceable air cleaner.
John mentioned the Ghostbusters thing. Okay, so I want to
Oh,
talk about the
yes.
cars that were there that were not 80s.
Uh,
Pre-80s. Like, what?
Okay, so the thing was, the car either had to be made, the first year of the car had to be in the 1980s, or it had to end its generation in the 80s.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, so they kind of did a broad scope, but I think they did that when they first started out, just
Yes.
so cars would show up, sort of deal. But I think, for the most part, everything was within, actual firm 80s.
I'm just wondering, with Radwood growing, one day we're gonna have a Radwood here. I wonder
Seems
what
likely.
I wonder what's gonna happen to Back to the 80s then. I really hope that they can mesh together.
I think it's, I don't know. If it grows, and it gets like critical mass before we get a Radwood, I think it'll be okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, if it doesn't.
Well, I guess it's kind of like, you still have Week Fest happening while you have other like import shows at the same time.
I hear Week Fest and I immediately think Wee Fest.
No,
I
WEK,
know.
which is way better. They're two totally different things.
I know.
One's wonderful, one's trash.
Ryan, that's the point I was trying to illustrate. Damn it.
But no, I highly recommend if you're in Minnesota, back to the 80s is worth it. Like, Andrew Chase hates 80s cars, and he loved it. So...
If that's not a rating endorsement, I don't know what is.
Yeah, like, even if you hate 80s cars, there's enough cool stuff there that you will be enthused.
But yeah, back to the Ghostbusters thing. They had a Ghostbusters Miata, which I thought was really interesting.
They
But
also
then
had
actually had
Ecto
the-
one.
Well,
Yeah.
it's technically started in 1989, so okay.
That's what we drove. We drove Miguel's lifted Miata. Drives surprisingly well. It's just a lot slower accelerating.
Weird, it's like moment of inertia is a thing.
Yeah, it is a lot slower to accelerate, but no, it drives just fine. It actually drives more comfortably than a normal Miata. But anyway, yeah, it's back to the 80s. Highly recommend it. It's awesome.
That only took 30 minutes. We're doing so well.
Yes, we're gonna have to cut some stuff out. Tell me about Proving Grounds. How was that?
Happen. Pretty good. So PG1 happened. I say PG1 because, of course, there are 2 per year. The next one's in like September, I think, or something like that.
If I'm in town, I'll go to that one.
I enjoy that event. I mean, I don't ever intend on participating in any of the events.
Yeah.
I just want to go and spectate. But yeah, it was good. The only kind of gripe I have is I go up alone,
Yeah.
which is great. And I intend to just go look at things kind of alone. But I end up like running into more people that I know that I like need to talk to than I have time for. So it kind of like ruins the weekend in that sense.
That sounds like me at every car show.
And then of course I make new friends. So it's, I don't know.
It snowballs.
Yeah, the drifting is still fun to watch. I mean, there's a couple really good people and a bunch of trash.
Believe
the
it.
drag racing's reasonable. The burnout competition's awesome. The drinking's good. The huge pallet bonfire, you can't miss that. So, I don't know. I ran into a bunch of people.
We should go to Final Bout sometime.
I've heard of that.
It's a big like national drift thing that happens in Wisconsin. But
Okay.
like every drift event I've been
Is
to.
that Shawano?
Yeah, Shawano. Yeah.
That's such a weird track for drifting.
Yeah, but it's really
Teeny.
good. Yeah, it's a thing that's really good for that. But
I don't know if I just want to go to a drift event. I mean, I enjoyed watching it, but I'm like,
well, that's the thing. I want to try it out. But every other like drift thing I've ever been to, it's usually that. It's usually the vast majority of people suck with a few good people.
yeah. And I saw one of the better, in my opinion, people is in like a stock-looking black Fox body, like notchback. Not a
Oh, yeah.
notchback. It was the desirable one, whatever that is. But he sent it into the wall pretty good and qualifying, not classifying.
Perfect.
Sent it into the classifieds in qualifying. There you go. But that was great. One of the Saiku guys had a Nissan Laurel
Yeah.
with a 1J
Patrick.
VVTi.
That's
That
Patrick,
thing stopped running, and I spent like 2 hours drinking trying to troubleshoot that thing. Turned out to be a bad coil driver, so we couldn't fix it. But that thing was pretty cool. I mean, just a bunch of great time hanging out with people.
How did you manage to break a JZ?
The wiring in that car looked like it was done blindfolded by a 7-year-old.
So not a Toyota problem.
No, I'm guessing it was a wire short somewhere else. That 1J looked pretty solid, so that was all fine. It's a great event. I saved the wristband from my Judd Coppa Memorial thing like last month.
Yeah.
It's the same color, and it's a genuine wristband, so it has the UV reflective crap on it.
Oh, perfect.
So I didn't even pay to go up there. I took the Tesla up, so
Oh, no.
I had free supercharging, got in for free. People kept feeding me beer for free. Ran into Brian May, and we just ghost rode around the... Oh, man. Yeah, it was great, though. I'm going to go up for Power Cruise.
I know. So one of the things I heard Butters say is he took his Civic up, and he actually took it out on the track, like melted his brake pads because you actually need them. It doesn't look that fast, that track, but it is. And he couldn't get his times for his lap times because they didn't time people. There's a really good app for that called Track Addict, where it has pretty much every track in the world. If it isn't there, you can...
Harry's lap timer has Brainerd, too.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So perfect. So yeah, any lap time like that, like Harry's or Track Addict, you can get that, put that in your car, and that will record your lap time from a stop and start position.
Yep.
So There you go.
Yeah, it's I mean, those events they do try to like not keep track so people don't go too apeshit, but people are gonna do it anyway.
I think they know that like everybody that's on that track is like 1 or 2 in already.
Yeah,
it's like-
yeah, that's one of the main reasons. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think I would do an event here. Like Power Cruise, I'm gonna do roll racing and
Like-
Brexit, but
Drag racing. Drag racing is one of my favorite things ever, forever, and always will be. And I love it there.
oh, it's too bad Tyson broke an axle in his
Subaru?
wagon. Yeah, it was like
Oh.
his second launch. And I was watching. I'm like,
What did
oh,
he
it's
do on
gonna
the
be
first
good.
one?
I don't know, 13 something.
That's really quick for a Subaru.
Yeah, it's STI swapped.
Well, I mean, it's locked all fours at all times. So it's not like an Audi where it's 2-wheel drive and then kicks in the rear.
He wasn't launching it in lock.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's odd. Well, no, I mean,
How he got it off the track was he had to put it in lock and drive it off front wheel.
no, jeez.
Yeah.
That's bad. Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, they always send some power to the rear wheels, so it's
Yep.
yeah, it's really hard to break traction in a Subaru. But yeah, no, it sounds like it was a really cool time as always. I mean, if you haven't been to Proving Grounds, like, what are you doing? Like, you need to go.
Yeah, the pallet bonfire alone is worth it. So
Yeah.
lots of good people, lots of mediocre driving stuff, good burnouts, lots of beer. It was fun.
It's more of a party.
Yeah, that's why I go. It's for the nightlife.
Yeah. No, nobody actually goes there for the
I
racing.
came much earlier in the day this year, and I didn't miss anything.
Yeah, you're not missing it. It's that's those things. It's really for the people that are on the track.
Yep.
And then
Just go for Saturday night and make sure you're there for the burnout competition, and you're good. Leave
No,
Sunday morning.
Friday night and Saturday night because there's some rowdy stuff that happens Friday night too. I guess.
Yeah, if you can take the time, I guess that'd be fine.
Yeah.
Also, you have to pay $90, I think, if you do 2 nights. So it's a
It's
lot of
pretty
money.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's that, and then Waffle House Cruise last weekend when I was gone. That was good too. So there you go.
So, moving on, I want to talk about some news.
Okay.
Before we move on to the actual subject, I want to just ask Janice something. How many car accidents have you been in your life?
0.
You've never been in a car accident?
Never.
Never.
I backed into my dad's truck in high school, but that was it.
Okay, so you've
One.
never actually been. I've not
That
driven.
wasn't a driveway,
I've not
so
been.
it doesn't count.
I've not been driving, but I've been in 5 car accidents. One was a Pontiac Grand Prix hitting a Mazda MPV. That was the first car accident I was ever in. That was followed by Andrew Chase understeering into a tree with 11 people in the car.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. He did not actually do that, but it may or may not have been.
Hyperbole.
It may or may not have been Andrew Chase
Hyperbole?
understeering into a tree. Then there was, again with Andrew Chase, getting T-boned by a CRV.
I was also with Blake.
Yep, and that was with Blake in the car. Blake was freaked out. And then there
Never
was...
left his house again.
Yeah. Then there was my dad's Kia... the dad's Kia happened before Chase, but my dad's Kia got rear-ended by a CRV. And then the
CRVs are out
CRX got rear-ended by a CRV.
Yeah.
But like all the accidents that have happened like in your family have been CRV related, right?
No, the problem is when I'm going to Normandale for my house is I get run off the road by CRVs all the
Yeah,
fucking time.
it's always a CRV. It's not
For
any
me,
other car.
it's Jeep Cherokees, and of course, I always come back to
The Dodge Journey.
the Dodge Journey, the worst drivers in
Yeah.
the United States, bar none.
Yeah. No,
Well,
You see a Journey, just park your
CRVs
car.
I think that the CRV, if the Dodge Journey is the king of bad drivers, the CRV is definitely the Duke of bad drivers.
The Duke. What's the Archduke then?
Yeah, that would be CRV EX, I
Ferdinand?
think.
Ferdinand?
Now, speaking of such, Tracy Morgan, hilarious comedian, great guy all around. He finally had enough money. He bought a brand new $2 million Bugatti Veyron.
It was not new. They don't make those
Well,
anymore.
you know what I mean. It was
New to him.
He bought a brand used Veyron convertible deal.
But yeah, it was all like one-off and everything. And immediately leaving the dealership, got crashed into by a CRV.
CRVs.
Because that's what CRVs do.
They do.
Yo, dog.
Yeah, so that was...
And I think in Making a Murderer, he murdered somebody in a CRV.
yeah,
Allegedly.
remember, CRVs are maniacs. Like, the,
Maniac. It's
Oh.
like the Top Gear Poja episode.
there have been 3 street
Maniac.
racing car accidents I've ever seen in my life. And I went street racing for like a decade nonstop.
Allegedly.
No, I'll admit to it. Because
Statute of
I'm a
limitation.
giant proponent of street racing should be sanctioned by the government and actually like legally done. But anyway, two of the three accidents were CRV related. One guy was racing a CRV and spun out, and then another guy got rear-ended by a CRV, and then the third one was a guy with a Dodge Viper that was high, and he, of course, spun out. It's the Dodge Viper right after it rained.
But his daily is probably a CRV.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And the Viper ate a wall, so I'm sure his dad is thrilled with him because it was his dad's car.
Of course it was.
Yeah. But yeah, CRVs are terrible menace to society.
I mean, look no further than
Yes.
like that image.
Yeah, look at that.
Very clearly
Like
portrays.
he obviously was going from the right lane.
I want
and
to
just-
know. I want to know what happens to the insurance company of the CRV and
They go
the
bankrupt.
insured.
The insurer. Oh my God.
Imagine the phone call to the agent. You hit what?
Oh no. Oh no. No.
Who was driving the car?
No, I mean like yeah, it's like. And you were doing what while driving? Oh no. Yeah, I'm really curious how that would turn out. We should do some research.
I
maybe.
always tell people to buy CRVs, like if they're looking at a crossover or whatever.
Oh, not me.
No.
And I'm like,
Because I know they're just gonna kill people.
No.
well, like if they give me a
Maniac.
list of 3 cars and it's like Ford, CRV, I'm like, yeah, go for the CRV. That's a good choice.
If they give me a list of 3
CX5.
cars,
If they need a crossover, you buy a CX5.
I would say,
Advice to
yeah,
people that
if
want
you're looking for a
crossovers.
Ford Escape, buy a CX5. If you are looking for a Ford Escape or a CRV, buy a Forester.
But yeah, I did ride in a CRV once and it was just scary.
I get why people crash them because their all-wheel drive comes on after you've lost control. Like, not before, but like after your rear end is kicking out, it kicks in. And then also, you have no visibility. Like,
Clearly. What was that one equipped with the camera, eyesight, whatever side views?
no, because that passenger side mirror does not have elephantitis.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, you can tell it from like a mile away.
But like it looks like his Bugatti will buff out. Just that CRV is darn effed up.
Well, I'm not sure how much a fender is for a Bugatti, or a side marker, or a bumper, or a wheel, or an alignment, or probably an axle, maybe an all-wheel drive, a center differential, or a
This
front
is
diff.
like in New York though, so they couldn't have been going that fast.
Yeah, but it's a Volkswagen. They really like to brake, and I can
And
guarantee
it's probably
you,
a carbon fiber body.
I 100% guarantee you that's got electronic power steering in that Bugatti.
You think so?
Totally.
That thing has 11 radiators in it. You think one of them's not for hydraulic power steering cooling?
No, I think it's got an electric power steering system.
Normally, this is where I would go online and look up a power steering pump for
But
a
you're
car.
not gonna find that.
I bet I won't find that.
But
gonna
I'm
try, though.
fairly confident it's electric power steering, and if
I don't
it
think it
is,
is.
it will be a rack. And that rack for an Audi is $2,000.
Yeah, it would be a lot more for a Veyron, I'm guessing.
You put another zero behind it. Well, their oil changes are like $1,200.
But
They're
like
insane.
imagine the traffic this caused. Like that's blocking 2 out of 3 lanes on a one-way.
Most of New York's a one-way, but yeah.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm just saying one lane open on a one-way is gonna be.
You can see how ass mad Tracy Morgan is on the far right.
Oh, there are some good pictures. I don't know if they're in this article, but like his attire. Yeah,
There
there it is.
That's exactly.
Yeah, that's. Oh, yeah, he does not look pleased.
I wouldn't be pleased.
Oh, there's another angle of it.
Imagine him yelling at you. Like I think I'd pee myself a little bit.
Yeah, Tracy Morgan's like the funniest dude on earth, but he's also a gigantic black man.
Well, like and like whenever he does his yelling
With a
bits, it kind
super-
of scares me.
Yeah, he's got a
It's just
super
like,
deep voice. Like,
Like he sounds really angry.
I'm really
I wanna
curious.
Hear him actually.
I cannot find what kind of power steering this car has.
All right, let's move on.
All right, fine. Dang it, your segue's too quick. So I want to talk about a non-news
Can we
topic.
bring up the notes? And
I'm gonna
off
leave
of
it.
Screen?
Oh man, I was gonna leave it up so we could get that burned in and get it to a YouTube thumbnail. But yeah, I want to talk
I
about.
still can't see the notes.
Oh, you are just so needy,
Very
needy,
much.
The first
needy,
tab.
needy,
There.
needy.
All right.
So last week, all 3 of my brother's vehicles broke.
This is why we,
The
this is
Porsche
actually why
needed
we,
a clutch.
This is why we couldn't record the podcast last week.
Exactly, because I had to take that entire night we were supposed to record and work on nothing but those cars. So the Porsche was already up in the air, already had most of the stuff disconnected to pull the trans out to do a clutch. Planning on doing that
It was a
anyway.
911
This now
emergency.
became a 911 emergency because the wife's daily driver, a 2004 BMW E60 530i 6-speed, awesome car, had a rear left spring just sort of give up.
What?
It just sort of broke in half and slid all the way over the perch. So the thing pulled up here and it looked like stance works.
I'm surprised it made it.
I can't believe they drove it. Yeah.
I wouldn't, because that's like a really
Did
sharp
they bring
object pointed at your
Stella
tire.
with-
No, I told them
Okay,
to
good.
not do that. So
Good,
Stella
good,
came
good.
in the Element.
Okay,
Good.
good.
What happened to the Element?
The Element's water pump gave out.
Oh,
And it was their only vehicle, so they were
Yes.
using it to like do this whole kerfuffle thing. This water pump had been making like bad bearing noise
Yeah.
for a week, and I didn't know for sure if it was an idler or a water pump. So I was at his house dropping off some stuff, and he just pulled
they
in
went
from
from
work, popped the hood. Sure enough, you can see the water pump just going on the bottom of the engine. I'm like, this is not good.
So 2 working people and a baby went from 3 cars to 0
To
cars.
point-
In a
0.5.
night. In one night.
Basically in a night.
Oh my goodness.
So I found a used strut upright at the shop I used to run. I
Yeah.
grabbed that on the way down to work on the Porsche. I knocked out the entire clutch on that car in 4 hours. And then
Good
they
job.
drove the BMW down here. I did that in an hour. And then I kept the Element here
Oh my
while I
god.
waited for parts.
That's
So I got them
insane.
back up to 2 cars. But anyway, that is a long segue to get back to something I was thinking about as I was taking the Porsche for its first test drive. Clutch break-in.
Yeah.
Yes.
This is something that goes back on forums like as long as oil and
Oh,
things
yeah.
like that. Like, do you do it?
Yeah,
If
of
you
course.
do, what's the best way to do it? Like, do you resurface your flywheel? What's the best way to whatever, this and that? So I want to ask you, just unprovoked,
What would I
how
do?
do you, say you just got a brand new clutch in your car,
What do I tell customers?
what do you do?
I tell customers, and I personally actually do resurface my flywheel because I don't want to. My thing is, resurfacing the flywheel costs $60 for the most
For a
expensive
single
shop.
mass.
Yeah, that's true. Which every car should have. But
Should, but almost none do.
every car I've ever owned has had a single mass, but I also buy poverty cars. But anyway, most shops will do a single mass flywheel. And besides, if you're doing a clutch, you're going to do a single mass conversion. So, because otherwise,
They
a
don't work
single,
well for BMWs.
well, anyway, so if you have a single mass,
Just talking about the clutch.
Yeah, if you have a single mass flywheel, you resurface it every time. It's $60. It's a lot cheaper than breaking the clutch and finding out your flywheel has a hot spot on it, and now you're screwed. And now you got to take everything back apart. I just do it.
Hotspots have to be bad for it to throw anything off. Like
That's
that.
what I mean, though. It's like I'm safe. It's too much of a pain in the ass for me to want to go back and do
If
it
the
again.
hotspots are any bigger than the size of a quarter, immediate replacement.
I will cheap out on a brake rotor, but never a flywheel, because there's a wheel and like 6 bolts in the way of a brake rotor.
I either reuse an OE flywheel or I get another used OE flywheel.
Exactly what I mean. Yeah,
But I never put in a new flywheel ever. And I can't resurface a dual mass, so.
That's true. But with clutch break-in, what I do, I go light. I'm not gonna lie. I drive pretty light, about 1,500 miles. Or
Jeez.
yeah, I do. First tank of gas, I go just drive totally normally. Second tank of gas, I drive a little bit more like how I normally do. Third tank of gas, I usually have some hot spots left over, so I'll leave stoplights in second gear, and then after that, I'm good.
I just tell people first 50 miles start in second gear,
Yep.
keep the engine at 1,500 RPM as they're engaging, then just run it.
That's fair. I'm also really careful because I don't want to have to do it again. Absolutely.
It's never my car, so I don't care.
Yeah, it's 100% not my least. It's my least favorite thing. I never want to do it, and I've got a warranty at work. I really don't want to gum up my shop because somebody decided to roach their flywheel on my advice. So yeah, that's why. That's my advice. Jan, you don't really have much experience with that.
Yeah, I don't care.
Well, it's
I'll
just to set in the friction material. So, I mean, yeah, basically just slip is good in the first some number of miles with a clutch. You should break them in. And if you start going to ceramic and segmented Kevlar and stuff like that, break-in matters a huge,
Yeah.
amount. But yeah, anyway, there you go.
So there
it's just
is-
a weird topic that, like,
It needs to
it's
be
almost
talked
like
about,
engine
though.
break-in. I mean,
Yeah.
like, some people are just like, yeah, I baby it. I do what the manual says. I drive it between 2,000 and 4,000 RPM at low load and vary the speed all the time. And some people are like, I'm just going to redline this thing as soon as the oil's hot and change the oil.
Let's do my 2 things I've done here. Josh Sealing has always done the latter. Just drive it like a maniac. 'Cause cars are braking the way it's supposed to.
Yep.
But again, kind of like braking a clutch, not everything is seated, so you're going to have way more pressure on one tiny little piece of one part. And he has had several engines fail. I always have customers at work, and on my personal engines, first tank of gas, you drive it in the city only, and that's your braking period. Then after 500 miles, you change the oil.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do your next, up until like 5,000 miles, you just change your oil every 1,500 miles. And then then it's normal. That's how I do my braking procedures.
Yeah, I mean, oil analysis is... I wouldn't even bother doing it on a freshly broken in engine because it's just going to be full of everything.
Yeah.
Like lots of bearing and ring material, lots of silicone, lots of lube.
Also, oil.
Yeah.
Braking oil
God.
matters. High zinc content.
Yep. ZDDP, thick stuff.
Thick, the thickest you can get without blowing
How
gaskets
many
out.
C's?
Just 2 C's and 1 fire emoji.
You have a 2 at the beginning of your oil viscosity, if at all possible.
And honestly, if you can just get like a straight SAE 40 or 50, just use that.
Yep, exactly.
If you live in like a 120 degree area, just put 75, 90 in it for a couple of
Just
miles.
put gear oil in it. Yeah.
Don't actually do that. Please don't do that. You'll
Then
probably
there's,
break your chain.
Valvoline makes really great motorcycle oil. It's a SAE 60. And that's wonderful for braking in engines.
I use a regular non-synthetic Rotella 2050.
Yep, the Rotella's great. Actually, I just had a customer with a Subaru that was like put together by a blind person, and everything was over torqued and just destroyed everything inside the engine, and they didn't want to rebuild it, and they're just
I
going to
hate
sell it.
working on cars that have been worked on before.
Oh, this one's awful. But
Unless it's from somebody that, like, I hate to say this because it makes me sound like the pompous douchebag I am, but the cars that come back to me for more work that I've worked on before, I'm just like, all the bolts just crack loose like they should.
yeah,
Like,
no, it's true.
Like, you pretty much just snug any bolt down in a car and it's fine. The only exceptions are, like, ball joints, brakes, like the things that could fall off and kill you.
Yeah. Otherwise,
I'll
snug
rattle
brakes.
gun those on, but yeah, just like transmission bolts to the motor.
Well,
just
we have
finger
a Subaru at work that like somebody like took the impact wrench onto all the cam bridges and waited till the impact went click.
No, oh god, no.
Oh yeah, the head looks exactly like you'd imagine. So I told him, he's like, "What kind of oil?" Or he's like, "Yeah, I just use the 530, right?" I'm like, "No. From you are using your oil specifications from now on are gonna be for a 1986 Subaru GL. It's gonna be 2050 until the end of time,
Yep.
and that's what you're
Oh,
gonna use."
it's gonna make less power and get worse fuel economy. I'm like, so what?
No, he doesn't really care about that. He's just like, "Will it break?" I'm like, "Probably." But this is what you're going to do. You're going to put the 2050 in it. You're going to go shop at dealerships until you find the right car, and you're going to trade it in.
Yep.
That's what you're going to do.
Yep.
You got burnt.
Oops.
Oh, well. We tried.
Not as bad as the S4 guy.
I feel bad because this guy, like, he did a pre-purchase on it and everything. But it's like,
Wow.
I can't account for the fact
That's always shitty when somebody does their due diligence and they still get
he
fucked
did
over.
everything he should.
Ah.
And, like, whenever I do a pre-purchase, like, my guys go deep into the car. Like, we drain out a little bit of
Balls
oil.
deep.
No, we drain out a little bit of oil. We put a flashlight, behind it and see if anything sparkles. We do everything. We test the coolant and everything. Test the brake fluid. We do everything we can, and this guy still got burnt because there's no way we could have told. Like, it sucks. But yeah, that's your clutch break-in period. Now, I want to talk about video games for a second.
Whoopee.
Forza Horizon 4. Forza Horizon 4 has a new expansion pack. And it is...
Ooh, Ryan, you've been
That actually has
talking my
2.
ear off about
It does. It had Fortune Island, which was fine. It was whatever. But now they got a new one, which is Lego Speed Legends. I don't care. I'm pretty mad about it. And apparently everybody else says, can you please bring up my notes? Because I actually have a specific number I want to quote.
As
Just trying to
soon
get
as
Tracy Morgan
Ryan
on the
figured
thumbnail.
out-
Well, it might not work.
What's wrong with the laptop?
Because
he
this
refuses
thing
to
that
turn it
barely
on.
ever. It takes an entire podcast episode to boot this thing up.
It would have been worth it.
But it is the vast majority of fans. This is within an hour of them announcing it at E3, and it's since come out. It had 1.3 12,000 angry reacts on Facebook versus 567 love reacts. And to be fair, there's like 2,400 likes, but everybody knows that the likes don't mean anything because people can
It's
like.
just people like, I saw this.
That's acknowledging I've seen it. Yeah, and that's the thing is, I'm still waiting to play it because there's some stuff I want to do in game before I get to that. But it really bothers me because now I have to look at these stupid Lego cars.
A game that is trying to be a reputable driving sim.
Well, this is Forza
Brings
Horizon,
out-
which is supposed to be the fun version.
Well, I know it's like the
But
open
still.
world, whatever. But dude,
Like
putting Lego cars in this.
yeah, well,
Now you're gonna get 8-year-olds in the chat teabagging people.
Yeah, exactly. It's awful. Well, the thing is, they previously did Hot Wheels last time, which was it was all right because at least the Hot Wheels are based off real cars.
I guess.
So they put in like 3 Hot Wheels. That was it. The 3 Hot Wheels were like they were actually Hot Wheels that can easily be made in real life.
Okay.
So that's fine. However, these Lego cars are just—they're obviously Legos. They look like shit. And then,
Like we did the best we could with Lego,
well, and
which
so
isn't very good.
this is the thing is like it's really off-brand for the game. It's obviously them just like Lego gave them,
Selling out.
Lego obviously gave them a shitload of money to do this.
Yeah.
And the thing is the Lego map actually looks beautiful. Like it's a really well done map, and like they went through and like recreated almost a map. I think about like 66% as big as the actual main in-game map for this with Legos. And yeah, they did like this whole thing where you can like build your own house and everything. And it's like,
Kinda neat.
yeah, like it's actually as a standalone game would be great. However, this amazing option for a standalone Lego game is now worsening a great driving game.
Don't worry, we still have BeamNG, and
Yes, that's
whatever
true.
the other one is.
But
Automation.
Yeah, automation. But that's the thing is like, so I was like playing last night. I was racing a Porsche 356 Speedster, which I put a 911 engine into and actually made it handle good, but whatever. But I actually put effort into this, and
I think 356 is handled pretty well.
yeah. But I mean, well, actually with the giant engine in the back and everything. But I actually like put effort into this car and everything. Like everybody else has these cool cars, and like one guy showed up in a Lego Mini Cooper, and I had to look at it, and it ruined the game for me. Absolutely ruined
Mini
it.
Coopers ruin most everything for me.
Well, so and there's this other item here where it takes place in Scotland.
But wait, what?
The game itself takes place in
How
Scotland.
does that even? How do you?
Not
Explain to me what that even means in a video game.
like it's
sorry,
an open
Vidya.
it's an open world map.
Well, I understand.
Yeah, and it's Scotland. Like it's
Can you at least go a little further up and get the Isle of Man?
So that's the thing.
That'd be pretty cool.
It would be, wouldn't it? That'd be
Yeah.
a really kick-ass expansion,
It
wouldn't
would,
it?
yeah,
And
Isle
it's
of
not.
Man.
Now it's Lego.
Oh man, you could open world the shit out of that too. It's all farm
Yeah,
fields.
Isle of Man would be perfect. There's so many great pieces of
Oh,
British
man.
racing that could have happened there.
So much British racing, green grass.
Yeah, like you could have had Isle of Man. You could have expanded to like, the north side of like Scotland, north of Edinburgh. Yes, aside British racing, green grass. You can do Goodwood Festival of Speed. You could have done that.
Well, Gran Turismo was that one.
Yeah, but I mean, like you could have like actually like made it so you could drive your own car into it and like hang out in the pits and everything.
Sure.
And I even thought also be like a really cool option is if you had like a time travel thing where you went back to like the golden age of British cars. It's just like totally plausible because they just did fucking Lego, so it's like whatever. But like, it's British. Like the '60s would have been the best thing ever to be able to go back to. And it's already got a ton of British like roadsters and stuff. So like the Aston Martin DB4, the Austin Healey, all of the good ones, the TR3As, the MGTDs. Like they have so many great classic British cars. Like they really could have like pushed it home with the whole British thing, and then they ruined it. They totally fucked up the whole series. So it's just I don't know. I'm a lot more angry. I've calmed down quite a bit.
You still
He
seem
was-
pretty ass mad.
I
but-
am
He was
really mad.
physically like
I was-
yelling about it. The
I was-
other day.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I think I timed like 45 minutes.
Oh my
I was
goodness.
I was
He
super
was
pissed,
very
and it's
angry.
just one of those things where like the more I thought about it, I got even angrier because I'm like I actually want this to be a standalone game. I want this not at all.
Now I just want the Isle of Man in there. That's all.
I'm like super pissed I don't get Isle of Man now. I don't get
Maybe
like any of the shit that I
maybe
wanted.
somebody will listen.
Well,
Probably
apparently
not.
they're not. Because the people are already pissed about Hot Wheels, but like not enough to make a difference. Apparently, it just feels like they're going the way of Need for Speed, and they're just give it 5 years and Forza will be dead.
Horizon is
Forza
very
will be
much
dead.
a Need for Speed.
And that's
title.
what I liked about Horizon, because I actually liked Need for Speed Underground 2. Like that was one of my favorite games ever.
Me too, because it played pretty well on a Pentium 2 300.
And it was actually a fun game to play. You could modify your cars and everything. It was good. But immediately after that, it just went downhill. And it feels like that's what they're doing. And I've been looking for a good open world, semi-realistic racing game. And now I'm not going to be able to get that anymore.
Not yet. Well, at least not in the time being.
Yeah, so I'm really pissed. Assetto Corsa, please make a open world version of your game. I will 100%.
And then include Isle of Man, please.
Yeah, I will 100% go to Assetto Corsa. Because they have the A86, they have the Supra. Like, I've got no reason to play Forza now.
Thank you.
Anyway,
I've
that was enough screaming.
Well, it was, but it's not too bad. I mean, I appreciate the sentiment, and I agree. So
There we go.
it is what it is. I've got just one more piece of factual news here before we terminate this episode, and it involves a Bentley. Not an old one, but a new one. So, Bentley has now managed to make a small Manhattan apartment building achieve more than 200 miles per hour.
That's insane.
So, the new Flying Spur, all redesigned and
Actually,
whatnot.
its name now means something. Hey, Corey, you got back from the Wolves.
They weren't hungry today.
They let him go.
So, yeah, it's got 4 doors, and it's 207 miles an hour worth of get
That
over
is cool.
poor person.
And everybody says that car is a whole apartment building, and I feel like most people haven't actually seen one.
They are cavernous and just vast.
We
You need an estate to have one of those.
tried to pass one on Rodeo Drive last time we were in Los Angeles, and it took a lot, because it was like that guy was going like 5 miles an hour faster than me, and I had to accelerate 5 more miles per hour, and then accelerate faster than that to get past the
Like
car's
the 50 feet of car.
Yeah, to get past the car before I get to A, an intersection, B, a turn, or the car in front of me, or the pedestrian 3 blocks away.
And if that person decides they don't want to be passed, they can achieve that.
Yeah.
Because it's extremely powerful.
That's a wonderful car for all of Dubai.
That is a wonderful car for really not taking any more shit from poor people.
I love that. I absolutely love that car. Because that car, you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of just the total ridiculousness that you had right before the Great Depression.
Yeah.
As a modern day
This is John
Duesenberg.
Philip Sousa's daily driver.
That is a modern day Duesenberg.
Oh
I am
no, the
happy
bell's
about it.
stuck down.
1 second, let me do it again.
I'm going to call this the
modern-day
Bentley
Duesenberg.
Fauché.
That's a Bentley that
Yes.
deserves a Bentley name.
If you
Yep.
park that illegally, how many tickets do you get?
Well, there's
3.
room for a lot of
No,
them.
you get an eviction because it's a building.
Well, the owner of the Bentley probably buys off the police department and fires the meter maid.
How many liters is it?
I think it's still 6.75. Let us check.
So why don't they call
Ooh,
it a
more pictures.
Bentley 6 3/4?
6 liter. Oh.
That needs to be an 8 liter.
Yeah. Why did? Yeah. Just wait.
That should have been an 8 liter.
Just
You
like
need-
do cylinder deactivation if you need the thingy.
yeah, like that should totally be a new Bentley 8 liter. They should actually put an 8 liter into the Continental and call it the Bentley 8 liter.
It can't be that hard to bore and stroke that W12 to 8 liters, right?
Yeah, you can easily do that, and just like stroke it so it's like not even like
Or
usable anymore.
bolt together 2 4.0 Ts and just somehow fit it in there.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Ta-da.
Like that needs to be an 8 liter engine. It needs to be a Bentley 8 liter.
I
I'm
agree.
slightly less excited about it now knowing that falls within my breath of not giving a shit.
Well, yeah, I'm really disappointed this isn't a 6 3/4 liter engine, and that
Yeah.
it probably has multiple camshafts. That was one of my favorite things about that old engine, is that they updated it where it mattered.
Yeah,
They made the block aluminum, and they put nice big valves in it. I think there were 4 valves per cylinder at the end, but it was still overhead valve push rod
perfect.
all the way through the end.
I love that.
Like
That's wonderful.
the Brooklyns and the
Yeah.
whatever from 10
I
years
actually
ago.
really like the Brooklyns.
The Brooklyns is a very handsome vehicle. But yeah, this car it just means that poor people they need to move. So there you go. That's
There you go.
interesting.
I'm happy.
It should
happy
be
about
6
that.
3/4 liters, but we like it. And it's much better than that damn piece of crap Bentayga.
Yes, the Bentega's stupid. If you buy it, you're stupid too. Also,
Better than a Cunnilingus. But
do you know who else is stupid? Anybody
Lamborghini?
Anybody that buys a V6 Maserati Ghibli because they're just buying a tarted up Jeep.
What's their no, not the Ghibli, the
Quattroporte?
no, their SUV thing.
Stelvio.
Levante. Maserati
Oh
Levante.
yeah, Maserati Levante.
The Alpha
yeah.
Stelvio is actually a pretty handsome vehicle.
But anyway, let's move on to things we learned.
Oh shoot. Okay.
I'll start actually. I have one that I don't have to think about.
'Kay.
I learned this today. Most cheap R134A from China
Uh-huh.
is just propane.
Really?
Yeah, and it also has slag in it too.
Nice.
So a lot of shops that buy them for like super cheap, off like Alibaba, they're getting propane with slag in it. And there's actually been a couple of shops where like they've dropped the container, it like blew a hole in the wall.
Oh. That's pretty fancy.
Yeah, and since there's nobody to account for it, it's like you're just gonna have to yell at some Chinese seller on Alibaba who just changed.
And they're just
their
going.
name.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're just gonna change their store name.
Yeah, and that'll be it. Like
Done.
no big deal.
Whatever. I already made $10 billion
Like-
off you dumb Americans.
Well, it's like sorry, your $1 per pound R134A isn't legit. That's weird.
Yeah, I buy my refrigerant from like refrigerant people.
Yeah.
Because I need it to work.
Well, the propane works better, and that's the thing.
That's
Is
so
like
weird.
propane's actually way better, and the only reason I stopped using it is
Flammable?
if you got into a car accident, you would explode.
Oh, okay, that's fair.
Kind of a
God,
problem.
So people
Actually-
are putting propane in other people's cars and like.
Yeah, on accident, not knowing, because
yeah.
but, like,
that's
back in
so
the
shops here,
horrifying.
yeah.
back in the 40s and 50s when it was actually first being used in cars, well, what would happen is you get into a car accident, it would create the propane leak, and you wouldn't know it because it wasn't scented.
Oh,
And-
because there's no mercaptan in that.
Yeah, it was just straight propane, and then they'd have to they'd have to use a pry bar to open the door and create a spark, and the whole thing would explode.
Oh,
Man, stoichiometry is fun, isn't it?
I know, right?
yeah.
So, Jana, what do you know?
What did I learn this week? I didn't learn
What did you know?
anything this week. Other
You didn't learn
than-
anything?
Well, I guess I learned today that post offices give me anxiety. So.
There you go.
And
Tell
I-
the story.
Oh, okay. That's
Oh
cool.
well, so I was sending out.
You want her to get more
package.
anxiety, man?
No, I was just sending out a package, and like I thought I wrote the address wrong, so I went in like twice to double check.
I
So
always
the,
feel like people are judging me.
the post office people were like definitely judging me. They're like, "Oh, welcome back. Oh, welcome back," and I was like, "I'm sorry."
Yeah, Jan just got super Minnesota and then lost her mind.
Yeah, it's a fun time.
And then had a freak out, and she like texted me frantically at like 4 o'clock when I'm not able to help anybody.
Oh, that's the
Wasn't it like
worst.
4
That's why I
o'clock?
turned
It
off
was
the
at-
notifications at my house during the day. Like, I don't want to know if I can't go home and fix this.
Yeah.
I don't want to know.
No,
Yeah.
it was at like 2. So.
Oh, I saw it at 4. Anyway, Burger, what did you learn?
I learned that the E90 era BMW, they don't put eyelets on the engines for lifting them. They put a threaded hole in the cylinder head where you can put the tow hook in it and use
Oh,
that.
that's clever.
Yeah.
That's actually really clever. I
So
like that a lot.
right now, the engine is suspended in Mr. Wags with nothing but the tow hook.
Nice.
Huh. The more you know. All right,
So
cool.
there you go.
Well, anyway, we'll see you on the day that the next episode
Yeah,
drops,
just
or if you're on Twitch in about 5 minutes.
In
after
under a
taking
week, yeah. If you're following us on Twitch, just keep right on staying here. It'll just lead into the next one.
There we go. Anyway, thank you so much for listening.
Catch you
and,
guys soon.
Subscribe on Patreon.
Become a
Bye.
patron, I think is what he meant.
Yeah, whatever. That. Give us money, please. We're going broke.
Oh, that was the wrong thingy. That's the one.
Do I
wanted.
not entertain you?
Are you not entertained? Anyway, thanks for listening. We will catch you guys within a week.
Bye.
Bye.